Hey everybody, it's Anna, and I wanted to take a few minutes to talk through some of the details of Sirsasana, or the supported headstand, where your forearms are also helping your head to bear the weight of your body. The first thing to know about headstand is that this shape, where the forearms go up over the head, you want to be able to access this feeling of actually the shoulders lifting, so that the forearms would clear completely over the crown of the head. Everybody's arms are different lengths, so that'll be different for everybody. But sometimes we'll hear the alignment cue to pull the shoulders onto the back. And for this shape, you actually kind of want to ignore that. So what the shoulder blades are doing on the back is they're spinning away from each other and actually lifting a little bit. It's called lateral rotation. And so you want to actually feel a slight feeling of lengthening in the outer shoulders when you start to press into the forearms. And this is going to be really helpful for your neck to take on a little bit less weight through the body. When you're starting to practice coming up into headstand, the most important, other most important thing to know is that you don't really want to hop your legs up into the shape, because your head is stuck to the mat. And if anything went cuckoo, your neck would really be taking most of the torque of anything that your body was doing. So the approach to headstand has to be sort of slow and patient, which can be challenging. So I'll go through that, and then I will offer up maybe some ideas for strengthening or prep for this shape. So you'll interlace the hands. A lot of times people will measure out a forearm's distance. If you do that, just make sure you know that your shoulders roll in when you do that. So you want to wrap them out and away from each other again. I normally just eyeball it, elbows roughly under the shoulders. And then the crown of your head comes to the mat, and the back of your head is cradled by the back of the arms, the back of the hands rather. From there, you'll tuck under your toes, and here is a good moment to just sort of test. Can I access that feeling of press into the forearms? So I've pressed my head up off the mat just as a little bit of a test, feeling good there. And maybe it's just walking the toes in a little bit closer and hanging out. You could push off of one set of toes while you bring one knee in and kind of switch that off a few times. The next thing to do is this shape that I call egg pose. So each knee comes in and you curl up into a little egg like this. And this might be where you stay. It's absolutely fine to have a wall behind you. From here, you should be able to just let your legs shoot straight up into the air. And if you are at a wall and your feet are resting against a wall, this is another nice moment to test that you can press your head pretty fully off the mat with your forearms. I would say do not try that if you're not against a wall. Coming back down, knees curl in, toes touch down. I like to spend just a few moments sitting and activating this feeling of axial extension through the spine. So axial extension is just the feeling of the vertebrae lengthening away from each other. So reaching up and out through the crown, taking a few breaths, letting things come back to normal through the heart. So one really way to work prepping this shape is through, first of all, serratus push-ups. So serratus is going to start to help you move those shoulder blades away from each other. It's not going to help so much with the lift. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you can do these with the knees down or up, so plank or supported plank. But the idea is that the elbows stay stable and you push your shoulder blades apart and then draw them together. So we protract the shoulder blades and retract the shoulder blades. This is also working rhomboids in between the shoulder blades, and as you start to bear a little bit more weight through the shoulders, you're going to feel the serratus work a little bit more as you push. And then working again that sort of upward rotation of the shoulder blades, just a little dolphin pose can be really helpful. So tucking under the toes, lifting the hips high, and as you hang out here, seeing if you can get the feeling of pushing the mat away, feeling that lengthening of the outer line of the shoulders, noticing the difference between here and here, and holding that for a few breaths. You could even maybe work some reps where you push away and let your head come back closer to the mat, and then resting whenever you need a rest. And I always like to know what my counter pose is for any of these more sort of complex shapes. And I feel like just a seated, kneeling shape, maybe a block under your hips, is a nice way to rest between those sets. Feeling the spine long and the breath nice and free. So that's the deal with Headstand. If you tried it and had some success, let me know.